Young ladies and gentlemen, yes, my friends, I'm going to tell you something very important, so listen carefully. When I founded my first factory, I was 29 years old, what you would call a young man. Today, I provide employment for thousands of people. I know thread and needles, I know quality fabric, and I know how to make money. But the most important thing I learned is this. Understanding where your money goes is far more critical than understanding how it is earned. Now think about it. There are two apartments in the same neighborhood, with the same rent and similar conditions. In the first apartment lives someone earning $5,000 a month, a life filled with giant screen TVs, unopened boxes, clothes with the tags still attached, and luxury turned into a habit. This person feels anxious every time they check their bank account. Miss 3 paychecks, and they are finished. In the second apartment lives someone earning $3,000 a month, a simple but peaceful home where everything has its place and everything is used. This person has savings equal to 2 years of expenses and consistently invests 20% of their income. My friend, the same neighborhood, nearly half the income, yet 10 times the financial strength. This is not an income issue. This is a mindset issue. Today I'm going to share the rules that changed my life. The first rule is this: everything you own makes you pay twice. The first cost is the purchase price. Everyone knows that, but the real burden is the second cost. Storage space, maintenance, insurance, mental energy, and opportunity cost. That treadmill is taking up 20 square meters in your home. If the average annual value of space in your city is $50 per square meter, that treadmill costs you $1,000 a year. That $30,000 boat? Maintenance, insurance, registration fees, and winter storage cost you $3,000 every year just to exist, whether you put it in the water or not. And think about this. If instead of chasing luxury, you had invested that money in an index fund, you would have been buying your future freedom. What about mental cost? Research shows that visual clutter increases cortisol levels and reduces focus. In other words, all that unnecessary stuff filling your home is stressing you out, and you probably do not even realize it. The second rule: before every purchase, calculate the cost per use. If you bought a $200 jacket and wore it twice, you paid $100 per use. If you bought a $400 jacket and wore it 200 times, you paid $2 per use. The expensive item is actually cheap, while the cheap-looking one turns out to be a terrible investment. This calculation instantly destroys the psychology created by advertising, fashion, and social pressure. The third rule: which items in your home would you replace if they disappeared tomorrow? Be honest, my friends. Every item you bought and do not actually need is a luxury. Would you buy that fondue set again? That bread machine? Those clothes you have not worn in 18 months? No, you wouldn't. Those items are sitting there because you got used to luxury. In reality, you do not own them. They own you. Sell them or donate them. I promise you will feel mentally lighter. Let's say you get rid of that excess. The rooms become more open and spacious, and the time you spend cleaning is cut in half. Everything has a place because now every remaining item serves a purpose. The fourth rule: do not replace something until it can no longer be used. My friends, do not replace something that works perfectly just because a newer version came out. Does your phone still make calls, send messages, and run your apps? Then do not buy a new one. Does your car still take you where you need to go? Then do not replace it. Most people upgrade their phones every 2 or 3 years, even though the phone still works. Over 40 years, that habit alone can cost you between $35,000 and $55,000. Spread that behavior across every category, and you can waste $200,000 over a lifetime. If it truly stops working, if it is genuinely broken, then replace it. Not because you got bored. The fifth rule: make spending harder and saving easier. Delete shopping apps from your phone. Remove saved credit card information from online shopping sites. Wait 24 hours before making any non-essential purchase. Set up an automatic transfer from your paycheck to your investment account so the money disappears before you even see it. Research shows that the 24-hour waiting rule eliminates about 70% of impulsive purchases because most urges fade away within a day. Do not rely on willpower. Build systems. The sixth rule: rent or borrow before you buy. Interested in a new hobby? Rent the equipment first and try it a few times. Many people buy mountain bikes, use them twice, and then leave them in the basement for 5 years. If it becomes a real passion, then buy one. By that point, you will know exactly what you need. The seventh rule: making a major purchase. Calculate the entire ecosystem behind it. You bought a boat. Now you need a trailer, a towing vehicle, storage space, and cleaning equipment. A $5,000 purchase can easily become a $12,000 expense. But here is the good news. When you sell the boat, you are not just getting rid of the boat itself. You are getting rid of the entire ecosystem of costs. The eighth rule: define what is enough before life defines it for you. When I built my factory, I told myself, this size house is enough. This value of car is enough. This number of clothes is enough. And I stayed committed to those limits. As my income increased, the difference went directly into investments and freedom. Someone who keeps moving the goalposts will never arrive. The ninth rule: measure wealth not by what you own, but by your freedom of choice. Real wealth means being able to answer yes to these questions. Can you quit a job that is destroying your soul? Can you take 6 months off? Can you say no to an opportunity that conflicts with your values? Can you retire before 65? The person earning $200,000 and spending $195,000 has almost no freedom of choice. They are chained to their income. The person earning $80,000 and spending $45,000 has extraordinary freedom. They can take risks and shape life on their own terms. Every purchase is really a trade between an object and your freedom of choice. Is it worth it? Sometimes, yes. Most of the time, no. That is why, my friends, you need to think about tomorrow, not just today. The 10th rule: do not aim for a massive transformation overnight. Aim for consistent change. Removing 3 items a week is sustainable. Trying to remove 300 items in a year becomes overwhelming and turns into a task you keep postponing. This cyclical approach also creates awareness. You begin to see which categories keep growing, which emotions trigger your spending, and which marketing tactics influence you. Now, what should you do in practice? This week, find 10 items in your home and ask yourself, if this disappeared, would I buy it again? If the answer is no, sell it or donate it. Then notice how you feel. This month, apply the 24-hour rule to every non-essential purchase and count how many desires survive. This quarter, count your clothes, kitchen items, and entertainment-related possessions, then set upper limits for each category. This year, define what is enough when it comes to housing, transportation, and clothing, and write it down. My friends, let me add one more thing. This relationship works both ways. Owning less creates more money, and having more money makes it easier to live with less. As your savings and investments grow, your need for status and security begins to come from financial strength rather than possessions. The difference between the spending cycle and the wealth-building cycle is determined less by income and more by this decision. A high earner trapped in the wrong cycle accumulates nothing. A modest earner in the right cycle accumulates everything. And let me make this clear. This is not deprivation. This is intentional living. Research shows that once a basic level of comfort and security is met, additional spending does not significantly increase happiness, yet people continue acting as though happiness grows in direct proportion to consumption. Minimalists live according to this principle. They spend enough to be comfortable and direct the rest toward freedom. The result is fewer possessions, but more life. That second apartment I mentioned at the beginning, the person earning $3,000 a month with 2 years of savings, is simply someone who consistently applies these principles. They do not have an extraordinary income. They have extraordinary clarity. The first apartment belongs to someone who never questioned the idea that more stuff equals a better life. No matter what you earn today, both lifestyles are available to you. The only question is this: do you want to own your possessions, or do you want your possessions to own you? The math is firmly on the side of the first choice. So is peace of mind.